Hey everybody, how's it going today? Ian back here with you, Entertainment Examiner. Hey, if you can tell from what's behind me and the shirt I have on today, I'm going to be reviewing Star Wars The Last Jedi. Man, I've been a lifelong Star Wars fan. I remember when I was like, I don't know, like 10 or 11, I got all the original trilogy on VHS tape. And it was just like, I think like so many kids, you watch Star Wars for the first time and it's this like, just amazing experience that you've always had with you. I went to a early morning showing this morning before 9 a.m. and the theater was almost full. So I don't think that there's many movies that can get you out before 9 a.m., but Star Wars fans are definitely some of the most passionate. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new movie Episode 8, The Last Jedi. This is the next chapter in the new trilogy that we saw the first installment of that new trilogy 2 years ago with The Force Awakens, which was on my top 10 list, actually. It made it right just at the bottom. The Last Jedi is written and directed by Rian Johnson, who's done some really interesting films. The only one I've ever seen is Looper, with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's kind of a mind-trippy, time-traveling movie, but it's really interesting. And there's definitely a different director's touch here than J.J. Abrams did on The Force Awakens. Some plot for you. Try not to give too much away in case you haven't seen the film yet. We are reunited with Luke Skywalker, again played by Mark Hamill, who is being visited at his faraway island where he has gone, so he can really never be found again. Visited by Rey, a wonderful Daisy Ridley again, and she wants to be trained in the ways of the Jedi. On the other side, we have the First Order, read by the villainous Supreme Leader Snoke, and a really fine performance, motion capture performance by Andy Serkis. Of course, under him is the villainous Kylo Ren, played by Adam Driver. And he is trying to defeat the Resistance, which is being led by General Leia Organa, played by the late, great Carrie Fisher. These plot lines eventually merge as the stormtrooper turned rebel Finn, played by John Boyega, gets together with a mechanic named Rose, played by Kelly Marie Tran, in a very good newer role for her. And of course we have all the usual characters from The Force Awakens. Chewbacca's back, C-3PO, R2-D2, and of course the wonderful roly-poly droid BB-8. Rose is a new character here. We're also introduced to a suspicious character named DJ, played by Benicio del Toro, and a Vice Admiral, played by Laura Dern. I really liked the Last Jedi. I didn't like it as much as The Force Awakens. I'm going to go ahead and say that up front. It's not quite up to that par for me. But there's so much great character development in this movie. That's what kept my rating very elevated throughout the whole thing. I thought the film had some missteps, especially in the Finn and Rose storyline, and there's some just choices they made there that I didn't think fit very well. I would have preferred some more scenes with Kylo Ren, and because I think Adam Driver does a terrific job with him. There's some really interesting scenes with him and Rey as they use the Force from afar. That's all I'm going to say about that. And we get interesting new creatures like Porgs, who are on the island that Luke is on. About Luke for a minute, Mark Hamill gives his best performance. I will go ahead and jump in with all the other critics who say that Mark Hamill gives his best performance ever as Luke in The Last Jedi. He is terrific here. He's just so great in this role. It's what he'll always be known for, but man, he plays this aging Jedi who just wants to give everything up and realizes what's at stake. And, thinks about his sister and thinks about the future of the Jedi. And he's just so good. And, we really didn't see much of Mark Hamill in The Force Awakens. So to see him again in a full movie setting as Luke is such a great experience. And what the movie also has is great action scenes. There's a scene with Rey and Kylo Ren with some Praetorian guards that is very engaging. There's a scene like on an ice planet at the end, which has this red turning salt on it, and the white juxtaposed with the red is a really cool visual. The opening sequence with Poe Dameron and BB-8 on the back of the X-Wing fighter is really fun. The action scenes are great, and Rian Johnson directs the heck out of these action scenes. What else Rian Johnson does is he gives us great performances. Everybody does amazing work here. And I definitely want to acknowledge the late great Carrie Fisher, who I miss very, very much. Carrie Fisher was just a superb talent, not only as an actress, but a great, great writer. A lot of people don't know that she punched up a lot of Hollywood scripts like Sister Act. And there's a one-woman show she did called Wishful Drinking that was on HBO. If you ever get a chance to watch that, I highly, highly recommend it. She's fantastic here as Princess Leia, or General Leia. Once again, she'll be very missed in Episode 9. I'm not sure what they're going to do with her. What they're going to do with Leia for Episode 9. I'm sure they'll come up with something. But everyone here just really steps up. Daisy Ridley, wonderful again as Rey, does a terrific job here. And John Boyega as Finn, and all the droids are great again. C-3PO, R2-D2, BB-8. We get a couple new droids. We get, it's just a great melding of all these characters and a very engaging storyline. Even though I felt that things took a turn a few times and weren't as, I guess, coherent maybe and consistent as I thought other parts of the movie were. So I would give the movie 3 stars as a solidly good movie, but I'm going to move it up a half star to 3.5 just because these performances and the visuals and the fight scenes were so outstanding. I keep thinking about them all day today after seeing the movie. It's really sat well with me. And I think that this new trilogy, hopefully with Episode 9 coming out in a couple of years, is going to make up for some of the missteps that a lot of people perceive from the prequels, which were very hit and miss. Episode 1 for me was more, Episode 2 was probably the worst of the series. But Episode 3 I actually really like, Revenge of the Sith. So there's a overall Star Wars ranking, if you will. And of course the original trilogy speaks for itself, I think. But I very much recommend Star Wars The Last Jedi in theaters now, playing everywhere. Tons of showtimes, 3D, 2D, whatever you guys want to watch. PG-13 rating. I think it's a really great film, but not quite as great as The Force Awakens. I guess that's my overall consensus for it. So if you guys like Star Wars, I'd love to hear from you. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Let me know what you guys thought about any of the Star Wars movies in the series, either the original series, Rogue One. What do you think is going to happen in the upcoming Han Solo movie next year? Doing a Han Solo when he was young with Alden Ehrenreich. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. And Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. I'm excited for that casting. So that's all I have for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.